Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's been another 4 weeks. What do you think was gonna happen? But anyway, let me get right into it. But before I get right into it, I did have my 6 month follow up, or more like 5 month follow up, because for some reason I had my appointment scheduled a month before I would usually go in and do all that fun stuff. But, anywho. So yeah, I did go in and meet with my endocrinologist. It wasn't really anything special. It was pretty routine at this point. I did have my blood work done about the day before, like the following, like previous day before, like day before last, whatever. I had to go in for my appointments so I can get my levels checked, and yeah, it was a pretty straightforward session. Just gave the rundown of all the changes that I've experienced and that I've experienced. Nothing really too major. And then it was brought to my attention that my hormones are actually my levels are actually pretty good and within range for someone around, I believe, for my age or something like that. So yeah, my levels are looking good. I've been having a steady rate of progression, according to my endocrinologist. I've been having a steady rate of progression based on what he observed. Looking at me, getting what I've been telling him that I've been noticing, and that seems to line up that I have been transitioning or developing, changing, whatever, quite well for the past, for the past year or almost two now. So everything's looking good, so much to the extent that my dosage is actually not going to be increased, surprisingly enough, because my levels are within, like I said, in a good range, that there really isn't any need to increase my dosage. So that's going to stay the same for the foreseeable future. I'm actually supposed to go in the next 2 to 3 months to get my blood work done again, just so that there can be more consistent tabs kept on my hormones and everything. If my prescription needs to be upped, if it needs to be lowered, it's just a way of better keeping track if there needs to be any fine tuning done with the process, which I'm absolutely for. It's like, hey, if there's anything, if you think that for the sake of my health or it's my benefit or whatever, we gotta lower it, we gotta increase it. Do what you gotta do. You're the professional. So yeah, that appointment went as well as it normally does, and it was good to hear that I'm transitioning quite well, and that all of my blood work and whatnot looks really good. So that was a good breath, just some good positivity to get after all the stuff that I've been dealing with. But anyway, that's really pretty much was the end of that. But now moving on to the actual meat or gist of what I'm going to talk about. I don't really know what to say, how to set that up. But anyway, diving into the psychological stuff. So this last month has been just kind of a neutral one for me. Like, nothing really major happened. It's just been, just life. I've definitely been hit with some curveballs. My symptoms for my wonderful mystery condition have been getting worse, so that's been a little bit disheartening and a little bit of been quite crippling to my mood and the stuff that I can and can't do. I've only had like one major incident related to my symptoms, but nothing like dire or serious. It was just I had a bit of a fit. It's just I had a bit of a it's not even. I just had a physical breakdown, and I was very much out of commission for a good long while before I rested and recovered and was back on my feet again within the day. So yeah, that's been great. Still, I'm still just waiting for my appointment to hopefully get that diagnosed and figure out what I can do from there. But other than that, I've just been resting, trying to stay productive. Wouldn't say that I've been happy or sad. I've been trying to stay constructive and trying to stay on the positive side of things because my situation, because in my current situation, all I really can do is make the best of all this additional time that I do have, rest as much as I can, and try to stay upbeat in light of my newfound, and in light of my current physical and mental limitations, and just trying not to strain myself, which isn't really that difficult since I can't really go out and leave the house. I'm pretty much stuck here pretty much all day, every day. Except when I actually go out for something like to work briefly, or just getting out of the house for a while. But other than that, I wouldn't really say that I've been in a bad place or been in a good place. It's just been very neutral for me because my situation hasn't changed. If anything, it's only, at least on the the medical side, at least physically and mentally my symptoms have gotten worse. Not and you'd think I would have been getting a little bit more emotional or a little bit more like something, but no, it's just been neutral month, whatnot, nothing major. But moving on to the physical stuff, it's been kind of another slow month. I haven't really noticed anything huge or major outside of my. It's like really outside of kind of like, yeah, nothing really like major outside of like little things like my chest. I've definitely noticed a bit more firmness. A lot of that soreness and tenderness has definitely come back, which isn't really that bothersome. I mean, I'm taking pain relievers anyway to deal with a lot of my physical discomfort, and that's surprisingly been helping with a lot of the soreness and tenderness that I've been feeling in my breasts. And I've definitely noticed some other like smaller, more feminizing changes to my physique, my arms, my legs, my backside, my hips. Uh, really, but really kind of in the small scale, but really in like the smaller way when it usually is kind of slower, where it's like, okay, I don't notice any big changes, but I have noticed some more, kind of smaller scale where it's like on close observation, it's like, oh yeah, I've definitely these areas have definitely slimmed down or definitely or gotten to a bit more of a feminine, definitely a little bit more closer to a more feminine proportion and look, and that's great and all, but I didn't really notice any like huge like changes with like hair, skin, face, nothing. It's just been, oh yeah, it's just been another month, nothing big, nothing small. It's just been, yeah, it's just been, the small, it's just been the small changes, and then really the only big noteworthy thing was in the old chest area. So that was really it. Another slow burn of a month, but knowing that my levels are in a good place, and that that I'm in a good place for my age group. I believe it's kind of categorized. I'm not entirely sure like how, if it's done precisely by the age, or if it's done by category, or if it's categorized more into age groups. I honestly, I'm having trouble just trying to remember like what exactly were the specifics of that appointment. That's something that's hard for me to do now. It's just to recall certain information. But the general thing was, it's like, yeah, I'm in a good place. Kind of where I am supposed to be for my age. Hormone levels and everything look great. So I'm not really treating this, this slow month as a bad thing. It's like I'm used to it by now, where it's just like, yeah, there are a couple slow months for every few months that there are big noteworthy changes. So that's not a huge deal to me. And and especially it is refreshing and helpful knowing that I am within a good place. It's like, with my hormones. So, because I would say that definitely, there was a time like during my first year that I definitely got a little bit paranoid and a little bit concerned, but knowing that, I was definitely rising might have been part of that then, but now I think it's just, I want to say maybe it's just more or less my body just getting, just getting acclimated, still just getting somewhat acclimated, sorry, to that just kind of consistent level. And if everything looks good, then maybe I'm just kind of waiting for like some type of tipping point, another tipping point when, another set of more noticeable physical changes are going to, manifest. It's just I imagine it's just a matter of just waiting and just kind of keeping and just kind of and just keeping up with everything. Hopefully, when I have my my next sort of small follow up in the next 2 to 3 months, getting my blood work done and kind of seeing where my levels are, then seeing if anything needs to be tweaked or boosted. But right now, I'm just kind of in a place where it's like, okay, if everything on the hormone side of things looks good, looks good there, then I'm just going to keep going about business as usual and just waiting, and just going about my life as those changes and everything do occur. I just remember, and then I remembered like that I still need to probably get in touch with somebody about getting in touch with the proper channels, to get a hold of the clinic or whatever clinic or whoever I need to speak to about getting the ball rolling on surgery. But that's a concern and topic for another day, especially given all that's going on out there. But that's not really the biggest thing on my radar right now. I just wanted to get that process going. But right now, it's just business as usual, keeping up with the routine that I already have with my hormones, and then just making sure that everything on the actual medical side of things, everything still looks good. So until then, that's really it. Yeah, that's the gist of it. Apologies if that was kind of like underwhelming or something. That's just one of these months. I always feel bad when that happens, but that's the reality of it. It is what it is. But anyway, that is all for now. Thank you all so very much for watching, and take care.